So on this first Sunday of Advent, we're focused on peace and what peace really is. Now, Advent comes from the word adventus, which means coming or visit. Now, you may think, since it's in Latin, that Latin term takes Advent all the way back to the time when Jesus was born. But it doesn't. Actually, the French put together Advent around 400 as a way to prepare for Christmas and the Christmas season, and that's how we picked up on it. It's interesting to kind of think about different traditions we have and how they came into being. For example, we think about Advent as the birth of a baby, Jesus, some 2,000 years ago. But then we also are mindful of what they refer to as the second coming. So when Jesus is coming back, look busy or whatever they say. Jesus is coming back and the world's going to change forever. That's kind of an apocalyptic kind of thought. But for those of us who are into process theology, we're not so much stuck on dates and what's going to happen next, but how the meaning of the birth of Jesus and the coming of Jesus into the world lives out in the process of our daily lives. So for us, yes, the story is amazing of the birth of a baby who would transform the world is amazing. But how does that birth and the recognition that God chose to come into the world in the form of a helpless infant transform your life on a daily basis? So this Advent, I want to encourage you to be mindful of the traditions we have and where they come from and why they are or are not important, and also be mindful of how we're not waiting for something to happen or looking back at what happened, but we're all part of the process of God's love coming into the world. We're focused on gifts, right? It's Advent, it's Christmas. We're getting ready to share in gifts. So we at the Garden have decided to take a gift each week and open it up. This week, of course, as I said before, is peace. Now, gift giving in today's culture has taken on a new form as well, hasn't it? The tradition of gift giving was that you took the time to find something that would let someone else know how special they were to you. You would not only do that, but you would put it in a box and you would wrap it yourself. And then you would wait. You would put that gift and you would wait to give it to somebody. And then somebody would receive the gift. And they would be mindful of the care that you took as you wrapped the gift up. And then when they opened it up, they would be mindful of how wonderful it was that you thought of them for this gift. Gift giving is important in that aspect because it's about the giver, it's about the receiver, and it's about the process. That's changing a little bit in today's culture, isn't it? In today's culture, we procrastinate, and then we get angry if it doesn't come in 2 days, right? Prime or whatever it is. And then we have somebody else wrap the gifts, and then we have an electronic "I love you so much" card that goes out. Now, I'm all for this expedient culture that we live in, but be mindful. Be mindful that the process is part of the gift giving. That the process is where you experience the love of God in new and different ways. If you're hurrying through it, I think you might be missing something. So on this first Sunday of Advent, be mindful of how you are involved in the process of the season. Be mindful of how you are sharing your time and your energy in the midst of this season. Now, we're going to talk about peace today, so that takes us back to 700 years before Jesus was born. There was this prophet, his name was Isaiah. And Isaiah is a prophet we hear often in the Advent season because he foretold of the coming of Jesus. He did so in the 9th chapter of his book that he wrote. Isaiah 9:6 goes like this: "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father," and what we're focusing on today, the Prince of Peace. That's right, the Prince of Peace. Now, he foretells 700 years before, so we aren't really sure. We call him the silent years. For about 700 years, not much happens, but then Jesus is born. And Jesus is born in a stable, we hear, but also, he really didn't go to work till his 30s. So if your kid's still living at home and in their 30s, don't worry about it. And when he went to work in his 30s, he focused his ministry and what was important to him on this thing called peace. He said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons or children of God," sons and daughters of God. Peacemakers are the children of God. And then he said, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will give you peace. Take my yoke upon you." Now, a yoke is what you put on an oxen when an oxen is going to work. So Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So all throughout Jesus' ministry, he was focused on the power of peace and finding the power that comes with peace, recognizing that if you find this peace, you will recognize that you have a powerful relationship with God and also have the opportunity to share peace in the world. I find it interesting that some 2,000 years ago when Jesus was born, it was an interesting time in culture. There was lots of struggles in the culture. There was great division among the people. There was a refugee crisis. There were factions in the government. There were issues of religious sectors going up against each other. There was challenges over sexism and racism and marriage laws and rights and issues of poverty and homelessness and high taxation. This is the world that Jesus came into. Remember that process thing I talked about just a minute ago? Gee, that sounds a little bit about like the culture we're living in today. So again, we have to figure out how in the midst of these challenges, because I hear there was an election a couple weeks ago, how in the midst of these challenges and our divisiveness, are we letting this little baby, or Jesus, into the process of our lives, speaking into our culture today and speaking into the challenges that we're having. So now that we have opened the gift called peace, really, what is it? The word peace actually can be found in most every religious tradition. We all know that peace is the absence of war, right? We understand it's about tranquility and harmony. But peace is also to make good, to restore. But above all, peace is about being in right relationship. Right relationship with God, right relationship with yourselves, and right relationship with others. A number of years ago, I had the honor of doing an internship at Glide Memorial Church. Glide Memorial Church is the most diverse United Methodist church in the United States. Now, it sits in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco. It is a place where people from all different ethnic backgrounds come to. It is a place where people are homeless, but also Hollywood people go there. Maya Angelou held her membership at Glide. It's this amazing, diverse culture of people. It's a powerful place. If you're ever in San Francisco, I want to tell you, get there, because it's amazing. It's a church that has an amazing program that makes a difference in the community around them. They have health care and housing and child care and food programs for the homeless. It's just this amazing place. Each week, the service starts with about 15 or 20 minutes of gospel music, and you are on your feet the whole 15 or 20 minutes. You do not sit in those 15 or 20 minutes. And I have to tell you, you don't want to sit in those 15 or 20 minutes because the Spirit starts working in the room in amazing ways. Then the pastor says, "Go to it." And if it's your first time there, you really have no idea what he's talking about. But suddenly you hear this murmuring amongst the people. This murmuring, you hear shalom, salam, namaste, peace. The whole congregation starts saying this, and the words appear up on the screens along with where God showed up in ministry during the week. There are not really screens, but we don't have time to talk about that. But they're a whole variety of things. So where God showed up at Glide that week. So there are pictures of the ministry that took place. And as these pictures are coming up, people are saying to one another, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, peace. And they're meeting and greeting one another. And yes, that takes another 20 minutes or so. It's amazing. It takes forever, but you don't know it takes forever. Because people are sharing in this sacred spiritual process, and you really do. You feel the energy in the room change, and it's really, really powerful. Shalom, salam, namaste, peace. Now, shalom is the Jewish form of peace. Salam is the Muslim form of peace. Namaste is Hindu, which is, I recognize the peace in you, and you recognize the peace in me. And then we have peace. Pretty powerful. Come on. No, I'm not going to make you do it. Because I just had dinner with some people who said, don't you hate that when a minister does that? We're not going to do that. But I want you to do it with me, all right? So let's try it. Shalom. Try it again. Shalom. I'll take you through one at a time. That's good. Somebody's out here doing it. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Namaste. There you go. Namaste. This is part of namaste. This is part of saying namaste. Namaste. Peace. All right. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Peace. That's pretty cool. I wish there wasn't a show here this afternoon because we could try it and we could feel the energy. Because when you seek to bring God's peace into a situation, guess what? God shows up. And God will grant you in this space a peace that passes all understanding. That's so powerful to me. Shalom, salam, namaste, and peace. Try it. Try it in the different situations you find yourself in the week to come. Because, you know, this holiday season does bring with it different obligations and different parties and different things. And oftentimes, you just have to ask God to be there, and God will show up. So, bringing peace with you. And then also seeking a right relationship with God is central to peace. It's about being in right relationship with God. We all know that relationships take time, they take communication, they take energy, and you each share in that relationship. That's exactly the way it is with God. Just taking time to seek to be in relationship with God, God will grant you this peace. Now, there's something that you can't bring into that relationship. And I'm reminded of it this Sunday after Thanksgiving because some of you may have more than leftovers in your refrigerator. You may have some more leftovers left in your heart with some of the discussion that went on or with some of the challenges that are in your family right now, or because we all know that those kind of situations give us opportunity to love each other, but we all don't love alike, do we? So in order for you to be in right relationship with God, we've been gifted with this thing called forgiveness. But you have to ask for it. So if you come here today with some leftovers in your heart for your brothers, your sisters, whoever it may be, you have to get rid of that in order to be in right relationship with God. You have to release yourself from those kind of earthly burdens, and that's called forgiveness. And you are granted forgiveness simply by asking. All you have to do is say, Lord, I cannot believe my brother and I came from the same mother. Please forgive me for all the thoughts I have about him right now. Release me from those thoughts. Release me from that energy, and God will do it. And when God releases you from that energy, then God will work with you to be in relationship, and you can work on that relationship some more. So work on your relationship with God, seek forgiveness, and then seek that inner peace. Inner peace is recognizing that we are not in control. Can you believe it? We're not in control of everything, and it's accepting yourselves. It's accepting where you are. It's simply accepting life as it is. That's where inner peace starts. It's releasing yourself from this ego, where you edge God out with that voice in your head, and just simply saying, I am here, this is God's presence, and I am okay. I am not in control, I am not in charge, and I am okay. It's finding that center, that spiritual center. So that's inner peace. I struggle with that one quite a bit because I have trouble centering myself. But we talked about that a few weeks ago, just finding certain statements. Be still and know God. You are not the center of the universe. Be still and know God. Finally, it's a matter of bringing peace into the world in a variety of different ways. Not only can you shalom, salam, namaste, peace, but you actually can bring peace with you into different situations in powerful and amazing ways. Daniel Goldman, in his book Emotional Intelligence, tells the story of a bus driver who lives in New York City. And this bus driver has been known for creating a virus in New York City. And it is the peace virus. He is the man that when you get on his bus, he shares some kind of goodness with you. And you could get in that bus in a foul mood, and he'll share something kind and wonderful with you. And by the time you leave, you are changed and you are different. He is so amazing at sharing peace and goodness with others that people will actually try to find his bus route, and even if they don't have to be anywhere, will find a way to get on his bus so that his way of being can challenge their negativity and make them different. What buses are you riding on this week? And how is it that you can be the guy on the bus? How is it that you can bring peace into every situation that you find yourselves in? You could bring peace into the classroom. You could bring peace into the office. You can bring peace into the traffic. What would happen if we all started sharing in this terrible, wonderful virus and we transformed the world this week with peace? In the story of Jesus' birth in Luke, one angel says, "For unto us a child is born, and peace has been granted to all people on earth." One guy starts it. Gabriel starts it. And then that angel talks to some other angels. And those angels start singing of the Prince of Peace who will transform the world. And it's those angels that bring that message to us here today. Not a set of angels, but a set of angels who shared the news, who in turn shared the news, who in turn shared the news. It's that simple, folks. It's simply believing in the power of peace, seeking a relationship with God, seeking forgiveness, seeking inner peace, and then leaving peace wherever you go. Shalom, salam, namaste, peace. Amen.